I've turned on the cameras. Cameras. I think I need to turn on my audio. No, check. Yeah, you can hear me. Mike, can you hear everybody?
I can hear you. I can't hear everybody. Like they're going to be talking to me. I can hear you. Oh my God, can I hear everybody?
Oh God, leave me alone. I've had a long day. For Christ's sake.
Yeah, it's
Hi,
been a rough
everybody.
week.
All 5 of you that are out there. Hello and welcome to PokéStew.
You got five? You're out here.
Jen is a little messy tonight.
Yeah,
It's been a long day, man. Mike's got an intro for you.
yeah.
Take it away,
We
Mike.
get we got ones of people, right? Not even tens,
We have
not twenties.
one
Ones,
one
ones of
we can
ones of
count
people.
you all on less than two hands. But we love you anyway. Thank you for coming out. All right, do the intro, Mike.
Even if you're missing fingers. Oh
Oh my
God. Okay.
God.
Well, anyways, welcome to I can't remember which episode of the
We
PokéStew.
think it may be 9.
I think so, maybe. I don't know. But as always, I like to start. Oh, Jen's got the smart water going on. It's not helping. Um, but anyways,
I'm
we
putting
like
it
to
in my
start off.
approved cup.
Yeah,
Leave me alone.
we like to always start with our disclaimer that Jen or I, neither of us work for the Pokemon Company International, the Pokemon Company, Game Freak, or any other affiliated things with the Pokemon brand. So everything you're going to hear tonight, um, in conjunction of being kind of crazy and wacky, uh, are the opinions of Jen and myself only. So nothing we say here is any official weight, but we'll share our thoughts, experiences, and the things that have worked for us and things that haven't.
Anything you
Um,
say can and will be used against you in the court of public opinion, though.
true, true that. Um, and
Ta-da.
you'll notice that tonight we're a little bit disorganized, a little bit disheveled, which is an
Hey, I'm not disheveled.
internal reflection of our current mental state and capacity. Um, so, with that said, we don't have an agenda slide, so you're going to see our lovely faces side by side, and we're
No
going to
agenda.
wing.
We are winging this.
We are winging
Winging it.
Caca.
Calm down there.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to wing it tonight. But I don't. Did you when you posted? You did say a topic or anything? Did you in any of the forums or
I mean,
whatnot?
I kind of said all about event planning because I think that's what we wanted to talk about tonight. We
Yes.
kind of
All
went
about.
back and forth all of that event planning. We kind
Yeah.
of went back and forth this weekend. What did we want to talk about? We've been wanting to talk about this for a while, but we kind of went back and forth. Like, what do we want to talk about? What do we want to do? We have another like major topic that we want to talk about that we did mention last stream, which is hacking. But I think we need a little bit more time to kind of prep that, or at least our hacking liaison, I will say, needs a little bit more time. I definitely need more time to kind of read up on stuff again and maybe look at how things are going to affect, next format or whatever. But
Sure. Yeah.
so here we
And
are,
yeah.
flying by
And
the seat of our pants.
yeah. So pants, seat, fly. So we're we wanted to talk about event planning. We've talked about stream equipment, judging, staff etiquette, do's and don'ts, those kinds of things. Tonight, I think one of the things I suggest that we kind of focus in on is some of the background stuff that you don't normally see or hear about from a player perspective, and even from a judging perspective. Some of the things that I think we're going to try to discuss tonight. If you don't actually organize the event, if you're just a judge, you don't get to see a lot of it either. A lot of the stuff you show up and magic stuff has happened because the organizers put in lots of time leading up to the event, right? So that's kind of the thing that we wanted to talk about tonight. So, and along with that, the dreaded discussion about costing of some of those things, right? Event planning. You've heard us talk about it and kind of linger around the edge of the topics before, but before we went live, we were talking and just kind of verbalized the realism of the reality that honestly I think most of my events are run at a loss, if not all of them, and it's just a matter of how much of a loss, right? because some of that is driven by attendance and how much do you charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're not running, thousands of players regionals.
No.
You're running very small events. If you're lucky in Jen's area, sometimes you get,
A
a
hundred
lot of,
plus.
yeah, 100 plus, yeah, if you're really lucky. And then
Right.
there's us that run in the 30s and maybe 40
Mm.
player kind of mark for even for a mid-season. Um, so at that kind of player count, you're either looking at running it on the cheap, which I try to, the last couple, and it's been more effective for me and sustainable, um, or you end up having to charge more in order to cover your costs for different things. So
Right.
there's always that kind of balancing act between attendance, entry fees, and your cost to put on a particular event. And so that's kind of one of the things we wanted to kind of talk about tonight. Um, so I'll kind of start, and we'll kind of start about, of course, the very first thing that we always end up doing is looking at venue, right? Where are you going to host this thing? Um, Now, one of the things in my area, and Jen, you can talk about yours, but in my area, the local card shops, um, they don't necessarily mind having a video game tournament in it, but they're not necessarily particularly thrilled either because most video game players aren't buying a whole lot of packs and prizing. They're taking up tabletop space that people could be playing Warhammer or Destiny or card games like Magic, or even
D
Pokemon,
and
right?
D.
D&D, yeah. So most certainly, while the stores do support leagues and league events and tournament things, they're really not kind of geared towards the video game community. So uh, I here have been looking around, and I've been fortunate enough to find Indiana Tech, who has a crazy esports team. They actually have scholarships for going to college there as part of the team, and they do a lot
We just lost Mike again. He's been having some internet dippings, so I had a feeling this was going to happen.
of good
There
things.
he is. Mike, you're back?
Yeah, I know things are kind of going in and out. Are you there?
Yep, we're here.
Yep, cool. One of the things you're looking for in terms of a venue selection is space for the number of anticipated players, right? And anticipation of things that the number of players that you aren't really expecting, right? So if I'm expecting in the 30 35 range, I can handle up to 50 or 60. All right, and I can even spill over if I really needed to in some other viewing area. So you're looking at space. The other thing we're looking at is internet connection, right? So as you're gonna at a minimum, you're going to be doing hack checks. If you are running an event and you're lucky enough to have a stream, you're also looking at internet capacity that is capable of hosting a decent stream for you. And then you're looking at other amenities like tables, chairs, power for charging stations, um, all those kinds of things that you kind of have to take into account. Accessibility, parking, location, those kinds of things. So you really have to start looking around at what's available. The other things that I started looking at in my area, libraries, other kind of these community gathering areas. Now, my library has two roles um, as far as rental of spaces. One is a rental, and it's an hourly fee, and the other is free. Free sounds so good. The problem with free is I can't charge an admission. It has to be a free event. So I could have a free tournament with a free venue.
And we lost Mike again. Mike, we lost you from free tournament with free event or free event with a free tournament.
So there, Jen.
There you go. You're coming back
Yeah,
again.
yeah. I don't know what's going on.
I
Strange
don't know
things
if
with the
it's
internet.
mine or yours, but internet's not doing so well tonight. So
Yeah, no kidding.
we'll
All
soldier
right.
on.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, free is always good, but then you're limited in terms of what you can do for pricing or any other kind of support. So
Hmm.
uh, those local community type gathering places, while they sound good at face value, that it also can be burdensome.
I think
Uh,
most people that when they they tend to go to the library situation, go for their leagues.
Yeah.
Since you don't have to charge, it's always better to do like a free league than a free tournament, because at least league it's kind of you know free for all, I guess.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. And up in your neck of the woods, I know you run most of your events at the only game in town.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah,
Yes.
that's our main shop out in Jersey. We run events at Only Game in Town, and like Mike said, there's a lot of factors that go into selecting a location, and Mike pretty much hit all of the high points. I would definitely also include um, cleanliness of the space,
Oh, yes.
bathrooms, and even like proximity to food availability. You don't want to get someplace that's out in the middle of nowhere that everybody has to drive to get food, or it's like 15 minutes to get to anywhere that has food, because if you're running a tournament and you want to kind of run it in a timely manner, you don't want people taking an hour to leave to go and get their lunch, unless you're building in that time into your tournament. That's not something that I'm interested in, because a lot of the times we have 5 Swiss rounds, and then we have top cut, and we're talking starting a tournament at 12 and then going all the way until 8 or 9. And that's another thing, considering how safe the area is. If you're going to be running like a longer tournament where people are going to be leaving after dark, it's on a Saturday or a Sunday, or even at night. I know some of the tournament organizers run their PCs weeknights. So if you're talking about like having young kids coming out to your tournaments, now it's like, is this place safe after dark? So there's a lot of factors that we have to consider, right out the gate when we're looking at venues.
Right. Now, with that being said, the first item of cost comes into play. How do you pay for a venue? Um, so the nicer the venue, the closer it is to food, the better the space. Do the tables and chairs come with the venue? Do you have to
Right.
bring your own? Do you have to rent those things? What's the internet cost? Oh, you want access to power strips for charging stations. That's cost you some more as well. Um,
And I think the cost kind of changes as you get to different tiers of events. Like your
yeah.
PC and your mid seasons, most of us are running them in the same place now. But if you're doing like what I was doing in previous seasons, running your mid season at like a rental hall, or at a hotel or whatever, all of these things cost money. If you want power, you have to pay for it. If you want tables and chairs, or even like tablecloths, you have to pay for it. If you want, fresh water in the room so that players can have like access to cold water, that's another charge. Bathroom attendants charge. Some places, like I was looking at colleges, like college campuses, to kind of keep the cost down a little bit. Well, no, they're actually more expensive, because now it's like, well, if you're charging money and you're accepting cash on site, we have to have a security guard, and now you have to pay 50 or 60 or $70 an hour for a security guard. And if you're getting there at 7 for setup, and your tournament is going until 8, 9 o'clock at night, that is a heavy chunk of change to pay for a security guard, you know? So there's so
Yeah.
many factors, and this is not even getting to the regional level. There's so many factors at mid seasons and lower, even, just,
Yeah.
for
And
that.
so unless you're getting a venue completely free, um, i- I've seen two real pricing models in terms of venue utilization, right? I know Rebecca just recently had hers where the store itself was just charging a per head fee for however long they were there, right?
Right.
I think it's either $5 or $10 a head depending upon the event. I know some of the local card shops do the same
Mm-hmm.
here. So like if I was going to host a PC, it's like $5 or $10 for like league cups, those kinds of things. So if I
Right.
wanted to
Right.
hold a mid-season there, she'd probably charge me probably $5 or $10 per head, depending upon what the event is and how long the event was going to be and how much space I was going to take up, kind of thing. And that just goes without saying because these stores have to pay for electricity and air conditioning and furniture and rent and staff and
Yep.
security and all those things, right? And you'll hear people that will talk about, well, they shouldn't charge a whole lot because you're getting, bodies into the door, butts in seats. But if you think about a video game tournament, if you're there for 10 hours as a player, outside of the snacks that you buy,
And we lost Mike again.
should
There you
a
are. Oh, you
couple
came back
percent.
quick. You said after the snacks
Yeah,
you buy.
yeah.
What was the next thing?
After, if you just go past the snacks, what are you really going to buy? Maybe some sleeves, couple packs, maybe if you're also a cross competitor. And let's say 10% of the tournament buys something else. That's not a lot of revenue for taking up a good chunk of their space for 10 hours.
Right.
So that's where you really have to start looking at those costs, right?
I mean, so to interject a little bit here, so TJ in chat and Kyle Littleton, who actually is just got kicked off his plane because their plane is leaking or whatever, and they're trying to get it repaired. But anyway, Kyle's on his way to London right now and having a difficult time. But they both just started running PCs this season, and I've kind of been walking them through what they need to do, and that's part of it, going to the shops and letting them know what you're offering them, and kind of taking control of that negotiation, that situation, not letting them tell you, well, this is what we want. It's more, what are you bringing to the table that they can't access? And most of the shops are not approved to run PCs or mid-seasons, and so you kind of have the upper hand in that negotiation, but you still need to be aware of what Mike is talking about, wherein video game players are not going to drop the same amount of money as a card game player. You're still going to be taking up the same amount of space. You're still going to be taking up the same amount of time, even more, because actually all league challenges are Swiss with no top cut. So now your PC has a top cut, and it's going to be taking up more time than, say, a league challenge that's connected to their league that's already profitable as it is.
Right.
Yes, you're bringing in new people, so you're bringing in new clientele, new customers, which is nice. The word is getting out. But you have to keep that in mind, that these players aren't going to come in and spend the kind of money that a TCG player is, because they don't need the sleeves, they don't need the cards, they don't need the booster packs, or the promos or anything like that. Some of them may play other games, some of them may play Magic, some of them may play D&D, but for the most part, like Mike said, they're just buying the snacks. And so you really have to think carefully about what it is that you bring to the table before you go to these shops and ask to run the tournaments. If you're fortunate enough, like Mike and I, to be able to run a stream, you could definitely offer them some kind of product placement, like their logo on your stream. And if you have the kind of numbers that Mike and I pull in during our streams, that could be, a lucrative thing. If you're putting up their website, say if they sell product online, you put up their website, things like that. But again, unless you can track back those clicks from your stream, you're really not offering much in the way of return on their kind of space investment as it is.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I went.
And we just lost Mike again. I'm not dropping any frames whatsoever on my side, so I don't know if it's Mike's internet or mine. It's kind of starting to get annoying. I had a feeling tonight was going to be a fun there we go. Are you back?
Hey,
you here?
You back?
So am I freezing? Are you freezing? What's
I got you back now.
Okay. All right. So the minute that I stopped talking, you buffered or you froze. So.
Yeah, my OBS is reconnecting too. I don't know what's going on tonight. Something on my side too. So maybe it's a worldwide outage. I don't know.
Maybe.
Hold on, guys.
But yeah, to kind of piggyback off of what we've been saying, if any of you are looking into getting into, say, organizing or even judging or whatever, and you want to reach out, other than this stream, you want to reach out to us individually, I'm more than happy to kind of walk you through what I went through, or the advice that I have Like TJ is saying in chat, I gave him some good advice. I did the same for for Kyle and anybody that wants to kind of chat about how to get into organizing or questions therein. Definitely, my personal what is it? Twitter. There it is. Twitter. That's the word. My personal Twitter may be deactivated, but I still have the Liberty Garden one, and you guys can definitely reach out to me there. Mike, did you figure out what was wrong?
Yeah, I don't know, but it seems to be going back, so I don't know. But um, when I was saying I was fortunate enough to, hey Jared, my son
Jared,
just,
what's up,
yeah,
man?
he just got back from show car practice.
Nice.
Say hi, Jared. And we're talking about money and event planning tonight. Boring. Let's say hi, Connor.
Hi, Connor.
All right, fine. They both said hi. So, anyways, um, like I said, I got fortunate enough to hook up with Indiana Tech, and anybody that's come to my last couple of mid seasons knows that it's a really nice facility, and they have tables and chairs, easels, power stations in the back, place for people to hang out. Drop screen with a high-speed internet for streaming and a projector in the room. I got one side that's all darkened for like watching, the other side for playing. Um, there's no food immediately like right across the street, but we're literally 2 minutes from downtown Fort Wayne, where there's tons of food options. And we do a food break. Um, Now, well, yeah, they want to point out, yeah, shush, getting all kinds of help.
They want to be Ian's at the door too right now, trying to interact. Good night, Ian.
Yeah,
Go to bed.
both
Good
of my sons
night.
were pointing out that the last mid-season, the timing worked out a little bit where the cafeteria downstairs was open for a while, so you could
Nice.
slip downstairs if you wanted. But
I
where I
can't hear
was
a word you're
going,
saying, Ian.
where I was going with that is, while it's a nice venue,
I don't know
it's
how
an
to get
expensive
to bed.
venue,
You're gonna have
and
to drive up and tell me.
I did a partnership with the esports team there. So one of my 4 mid-seasons every year, they give me completely free. Now, the other 3 mid-seasons that I'm authorized to run, uh, they cut me a deal. And, I'm calling this open kimono night, right? So I'm going to let you look under the robes and see
You
see
can't
what's
see
going
under my
on.
kimono. This is not
Um,
happening.
So for the space that I have, there is a venue fee of $2,400 just to rent the
Oh,
space.
oh,
Okay.
oh, that hurts my heart.
Yes,
Oh,
it does. Just to book the weekend, it's $2,400.
oh,
Okay. And that includes, any tables, chairs, power, AV, internet. That's everything. It's kind of an all-inclusive fee. However, there is a hourly fee to cover all those services as well. So it's a $2,400 straight up fee plus a $10 an hour um, uh, venue rental, right, for services. Yeah, holy crap, indeed, as somebody said in the chat. Now, because I work with Indiana Tech and the E-Warriors esports team, um, I put their logo up. I cross promote them on my Facebook stuff, and I try to pump them up every time I can. They are so awesome, and they waive that $2,400 fee for all of my events.
right.
So I am paying the $10 an hour venue fee, and I usually book it for about an 11-hour block just to make sure I get set up and tear down. And if we end up going long, if we do get a higher attendance number and we go a little bit longer, we're not rushing to kick everybody outside and finish playing in the parking lot kind of thing.
Oh.
So, one out of my 4 events every year is free venue wise. That's their gratis for hooking up with me and the cross promotion kind of thing. The other 3 cost me about $110 in venue fees. Which you can ask Jen. She's been looking at venues in her neck of the woods. $110 for an entire, for an 11-hour block is really good considering that includes an AV guy. So if I have a problem, I call him up and he brings stuff. He fixes the projector, whatever he needs. It includes them setting up tables and chairs per my design, many tables and chairs as I need. includes all the charging stations in the back, and a nice, clean, warm, friendly, safe environment for all of us to host our event. Um, Now that's really, really, really good in terms of fees. And Jen, you can talk a little bit to the prices you've been running into.
So, like I said, previous to this season, I had been kind of going a little overboard, I guess, trying to run the biggest mid-season that I could, because New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, the tri-state area or whatever, Northeast is such a large community. I know that I can pull in the numbers, and the last mid-season that we ran at a hotel had 128 players. So the players are out there. I knew that getting a larger space would pay off. I mean, I didn't really get a payoff from it, but it pay off in people showing up, as it were.
Right.
So in January, I started looking. January of this year, started looking for my winter mid-season, and I was getting quoted upwards of $10,000 for hotels for one day. $10,000. And this is like, in addition to the fact that these larger venues, you need to have insurance, like liability insurance per player, for in case of any mishaps or anything like that, because you're renting a space and the hotel's liability is not going to cover it because it's an event. And then you have to sign like an event contract that goes into like legal terms like force majeure and stuff like that, and it starts getting really out there. So not only are are we organizers that are running larger tournaments required to kind of know all of the Pokemon rules, it's kind of learning about like actual event planning on on the fly, really. And this doesn't even take into account any other costs whatsoever. So the mid-season that I held at what was it, the Holiday Inn? I don't remember. I think it was a Holiday Inn, something like that. But it was out in February. That venue cost me quite a bit of money, in the thousands range, just to rent the venue. And then there was other like associated costs that we'll get into there. But you have to take into account the region that you live in. So Northeast is a more expensive region, so
Yeah.
venues are definitely going to be more money. It's it's really ridiculous.
Yeah. Like Jen was saying, we haven't even begun to talk about anything else. So just
This is
looking
just
at a
venue
place,
fees.
just a place to put butts down and start playing. Okay. So let's look at my cheap, Cornfield, Hick, Indiana venue fee of $110 for an event. My last event, my numbers were 24 masters and 9 seniors. So that gives me 31 total player. No, 31. Man, I can't math. Um, God, my brain is not fully functional today. Okay, I apologize.
And mine is. We're definitely not running on all cylinders. Was
yeah.
it
So
firing on all cylinders?
I had
don't know.
33 players, not 31, 33 players, and I only charged $5 a head. $5 a head. So that brings me in about $161. Okay, and that's U.S. dollars, not Canadian, mind you. Um, so $165 and $110 goes immediately to the venue. Do the math.
You're left with like $50.
Yeah. So okay, now I now have 2 commentators, 3 people on staff, myself, trophies. So as you can see, I'm already running in the negative, right? So am I complaining about it? Only slightly, because I'm losing money, right? But at the same time, I'm not doing it to be rich.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why I have a full-time job. Okay.
I mean, my full-time job's not making me rich either.
Yeah.
That is a story for another time, kids.
Yeah. But 3 kids also, and also
well,
put a hurting on the wallet too. But that's beside the point. But if you just look at venue fee and then you look at entry fees, I'm already barely making by. And then if you throw in the trophies that I added, so with zero judge compensation, zero food, zero caster compensation, um, if I have, let me have my little spreadsheet here. Let's see, venue fee zero. This is for the $2,400 wave fee. If I do $110, oops, let's do that. $10 an hour. Yeah, so if I look at trophies, venue fee, and then with 33 players at $5 a head, I make a profit. $4. Okay, not 40. Four. Four.
So like
and like I said, that is before you even look at judge compensation, caster compensation, lunch,
wait,
supplies.
Because I was just gonna say because the one thing that we're not even talking about here is the overhead of running these tournaments. That is the computer to run the tournament software, the printer that you need to print out the pairings and the match slips and things like that.
Toner,
and then
paper, pens,
toner, paper, pen. I mean,
tape.
Everybody can bring their own pens. Tape. There's so many other associated costs with being an organizer that people aren't taking into account. Like computer to run stream if you want to have a stream. The capture card for the stream.
Cables.
All of
Cables,
that other stuff.
Cameras,
Cables, I mean, we did that. The stream costs a couple of streams ago, and my stream setup was upwards of $4,000. Like, yes, I didn't buy all that at once, but over the period of however many years I've been running my own stream, I didn't make that cost back. I haven't paid those bills off. I was telling Mike on while we were getting set up, my computer was giving me all kinds of problems, and I use my stream computer to stream the stew. But I haven't even paid off my laptop, and it's already giving me issues. Like, I just can't even. But like what we're the point of is to get everybody to understand, like, your organizers are doing this not for love of money, but for love of the community, for love of the game, for love
absolutely.
of event planning and organizing. Some of us are lucky enough to get invited to the big show, and we get flown out to Indy, or
Except
out
for
to
this
Worlds
time,
or whatever.
we're not in London.
You had to bring that up, Mike. Damn it, I'm throwing something
all
at
of
you.
our friends on Facebook posting going to London. I love them all, but I hate them all at the same time. So if you're
let's take a moment of silence for Jen and Mike, who are both not going to London this week. I mean, really, like,
I mean, you're right. It is a great thing, is a great opportunity that we get. I mean, so don't get me wrong. And like I said, but just to reiterate that point is we're not doing it to get rich, and we're doing it because we love it to do it. We love having a good time. We love giving you guys the opportunity to have these events, and that's why we do it. But for the organizers out there, just be aware as you start to get into this, the water gets deep quick. Okay, so this isn't one of those zero entry, wade in kind of thing. It's like the Great Barrier Reef, where you walk out there and all of a sudden just
hold your nose and jump, man, because it's gonna get deep pretty fast. I mean, like, we're lucky enough to have judges that are willing to work for us, and a lot of them, don't expect any kind of compensation, or we're willing to work for very little compensation. The judges do get judge credit, so we put them in the tournament and they get judge credit, and they can use those credits however, depending on what tier they are. They get a certain amount of credits a month, and they can use that to buy things from the Pokemon Professor store when it has things in it. But, so they're getting something for working the event from Pokemon, but it's not a lot. And so a lot of them are traveling out as well. They're, either driving or traveling on public transportation. They have to spend their time learning the rules as well. And yes, you're teaching them and you're giving them the service of imparting your wisdom or your knowledge, but like, we're not in the business of bartering, and like we say all the time for the stream, like, you shouldn't expect to pay your stream in notoriety or in buzz about who they are. Um, but that, that is part of the compensation in it, but it's very, very little. So, kind of quickly recap where we've kind of reviewed so far for the people that are just coming in. Venue fees, getting that relationship or offering something to the venues that you choose to use, judge compensation, prizes, all of the overhead that we need to run our tournament. That's kind of where we've hit so far. Mike, what other costs are we looking at?
Yeah, so besides kind of those fundamental things, one of the other things that kind of gets overlooked, I think, and this season's been a lot better, is your judge and caster compensation. Um, I always provide lunch for my staff.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing glamorous. It's Papa John pizza, right? But
It's food.
it's food and some water and some soda at lunch. Um, and my casters, they sit there and they talk literally all day,
Ugh,
right?
hurts your
So
throat, man.
so I compensate them as well. Um, so that's one thing that gets overlooked a lot as well is that judge comp, caster compensation, and the food, and that goes pretty quickly. And like I was saying, this season it seems that more organizers that I've helped, and I wanted to make sure that as I'm running with actual staff, I try to comp them as best as I can, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll throw this out here. Like you said, open kimono night. My judges, I shoot for about $30 for my judges out on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then my head judge, I try to throw a little bit extra money for being head judge because they're the one that has to make any bad calls or good calls or take a heat for things and make sure everything
Right.
gets running smooth. And my casters, I try to get about that same range, about $25. A little bit less than my judges because they're not out there having to check team sheets and run hack checks, and they don't do registration, so they get the glory time on the stream as well. But they're talking the whole time. They're actively picking matches. They're trying to make sure that the production is looking good, and try to minimize the downtime as best they can.
Mm-hmm.
To keep it entertaining and keep viewers on the channel. So they deserve to be compensated as well, right? Because they're there helping during setup. They're there at the end for teardown. So besides the food, they deserve a little bit for their time. Otherwise, you're not going to get the quality judges coming back to events. It's difficult to keep them engaged and wanting to come back. Yeah, we do it for the love and we do it for the points and things of that as nature as well. But I've got judges coming from Ohio and they're driving 3-4 hours. That's some gas money, right? So even if I'm just covering part of their gas money because they have to drive 3 hours one way and another 3 hours back, that adds up. And as you start to staff more things, it becomes a lot of driving. So compensate your staff, okay? And if you compensate them well and you keep them happy, then the events keep running smoothly. But again, now you have to balance that against your fees.
Right.
My first mid-season I ran, I charged I think $20, and I did prizing down to I think 8th place for my masters, but most of that prizing were the decals and
Right.
some eShop gift cards and some keychain things, and I had some plush, and I think my plushes ended I think in second or third. I can't remember exactly how deep I went,
That was a really awkward pause on that one, Mike.
but as you add all that up, was that
I'm just not even
was
gonna.
that
Nope. Just keep going. You add all of it up. Go ahead.
oh oh God, yeah, I know you have insane pricing, right? um
No, no, no. That wasn't even what. No, no, no. I'm not. No, no, no. That had nothing. No, no, no. You paused at a certain point on my side, and it was.
Was I picking my nose or something?
No, it's
Oh,
something you said. Anyway.
oh. So, anyways,
Yeah, yep. Somebody in my chat just picked it up.
I can't see your chat. So, what the hell
You
did I
don't
say?
want to see my chat. Keep going. It's good. We're good.
Oh,
We're good.
snap!
And he froze again. Oh, Lord have mercy.
You really have to take a hard. Yeah, you have. Oh my God, my internet is horrible tonight.
He just did it again.
I apologize. Uh,
This is definitely under the kimono tonight, okay? Let's just get...
Lordy, lordy, lordy.
Oh, Lord.
Um, uh,
I...
so I'm going to summarize right that part where I just say, as you increase your pricing, you then have to look at your entry fees and your anticipated attendance, right? And
Right.
So if you want more pricing, your entry fees have to come up too, right?
Right.
And this doesn't just apply to video game, right? This applies to all these tournaments, the
Yep.
TCG,
Yep.
the League Cups, the League Challenges, and you see it all over Hey Fontaine, Verbank, and all these different other groups where people are talking about, and honestly, I don't know how some shops, um, they're charging $5-10 and giving away a box for the first place, right?
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
don't.
like, unless they're getting, well, granted, some of these shops are getting the 100-player plus, League Cups.
Right.
Then I can see it maybe because the cost, right? And if the shops are running them, they're saying, okay, this is just because I get bodies in the door. They're buying packs and sleeves and tubes and stuff like that. I can kind of see that, but there is a cost uh, for running the event and what you're pricing out, plus all your other expenses, right?
I think and to kind of jump off of what Mike said and bringing up TCG, what also TCG organizers don't realize, but VG organizers have known since the beginning, is that we don't get any assistance from the Pokemon Company. So things like League Challenges get promo cards for. Do they still get the promo cards, Mike? You know this, right?
Yeah.
League Cups get a mat for first place or whatever. Um, so
Yeah. In addition
there's
to attendance promos.
right. So there's things that the Pokemon Company will send to organizers. Actually, I think they send it to the shops because the shops are where the tournaments are connected to now. They send the shops things to give out. So there is compensation there that's provided by the Pokemon Company that we don't have and we never had when PCs first started. When Premier Challenges were like a pilot program, it was all on our backs. It was on the backs of the organizers, and we kind of we're like, okay, well, you know what? We're the dark side, and we're gonna do we're gonna do what we need to do, and this is what we're used to, and so we always have kind of operated on this idea that these tournaments basically run on our own dime. And that's not to say that the TCG organizers don't do it the same way. They do put in a lot of their own money into their events as well. But I think on the VG side, it's a little bit more of a burden on the organizers, especially because we tend to have less attendance. And so we have less of an entry fee if we do charge that coming in to offset costs and provide for judge compensation and all of that. I kind of want to segue that into kind of changes for this season with PCs being worth less points this season. It's kind of come apparent to me, and so I've changed things that players don't want to spend 8 hours playing for 15 points, and they also don't want to pay $10, $15, $20 for 15 CP, and especially in an area like mine where we have so many good players, it's like a bloodbath every time you go out to a tournament. And so I've decided that you're just going to pay a very small fee that's going to cover my entry fee costs that I have to pay to my venue, and it's going to cover judge compensation. That's it. That's all my entry fees for my PCs cover. It covers what I have to pay to my venue and what I have to pay to my judges.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not
Exactly.
covering my supplies anymore. I mean, not that I was always in the red, but I'm not
Yeah.
factoring in my supplies anymore. I'm not factoring in
Yeah.
my stream
Yeah.
equipment. And I've even said to my staff, like, I can't have as many of them on as I used to be able to. And I'm not giving them lunch anymore. They're getting a flat, cash payment or whatever. Um, and then I've said to my streamcasters, I can't give them anything. I can't give them any kind of compensation whatsoever, except like for my mid seasons.
Yeah.
I
Mid-season.
factor that into the costs there. But for PCs, the reason that I've been basically running without casters is because I have been very blunt with it, and I'm not providing any kind of compensation for them. Is that fair to them? No, of course not. But I can't afford to go deeper into my own pocket to pay them when that's not an essential function of my PC.
Absolutely.
You know,
And, and
it's
and PCs, like you said, are a whole nother animal because the scale, the amount of points that are available, and the frequency that you can actually run these things, they're really intended to be small. I mean, even if you are streaming them, it's a smaller, more kind of a cozy event, a cozy affair, if you will, right?
right.
I'm
I
good.
mean, that was always what they wanted the first tier to be. The first tier events, the league challenges, the premier challenges are always meant to be kind of like an entry level tournament. They were never meant to be a huge part of your invite, although they kind of became that way for many areas. They were always meant to just be kind of an entry level thing. And so, like I said, I kind of looked at how league challenges were handling their situations and kind of followed suit. You
Yeah,
know,
I'm going to circle back around for just a half a second, though. In my chat, somebody asked what our thoughts were about apparently in Southern Cal there was some cups that were charging $20 and gave
you just froze.
the
They
pricing
charged
that
$20
was
and gave
offered.
nothing.
I'm back. Yeah, well, besides the play mat that was offered
They
by
gave
that was provided
nothing.
by Pokemon, right? Nothing, and they had like 100 players plus in attendance, right? Um, I, Again, that's completely the call of the organizer. Would I personally feel comfortable charging that level of money without any kind of pricing beyond that? No, not especially not at that attendance numbers, right? Um, I feel there should be something else that's also provided there. Um,
I mean,
but
was that like run at a shop, or was it run concurrent to
uh,
something else? Was it run at a con?
no, I think those are all
There's
just standard league cups that were out. And it, now here locally, the league that I am a league leader here at a local game shop. We charge a $10 flat fee, and the only prizes we give are um, the play mat and the promos and additional pricing past that. Um, if our numbers, um, yeah, I know I'm freezing up again,
yep.
man. If, yeah, if our numbers come up, she's investigating, scaling price support, and I'm trying to gather some best practices from other people that have scaling price support. I know Anthony Castellano, I always get his name wrong. Um, Anthony has some good kind of charts that deal with scaling price support. So I'm trying to get that kind of incorporated over to see how that goes. But yeah, I think definitely the higher price point with a large attendance cap does deserve some kind of return to the players. And again, it really does come back to balancing cost of running the event compared to what's coming in. We don't ask people to go and do things like I don't go to work and lose money, right? I go and I get paid to be there and to perform services. Um, Although Pokemon is an effort of a labor of love on many levels, I can only afford to lose so much money, right? So um, yeah, because if I want to keep doing this labor of love, I have to make it affordable bloodletting. Um,
Affordable. Bring out the leeches.
it is, right? If you think about it, me putting on tournaments and making it available for players, it you call it a hobby, right? I enjoy doing it, right? And
Mhm.
as anything that you do for fun as a hobby, you're going to lose money. It's just
Right.
a cost of doing things.
Right.
Now, if you are one of those rare people that can find a hobby that actually pays and you make money, God bless you. Good on you. Keep it up, right? Um, now,
Tell
unless,
me how to do that too.
well, the thing is, if you could get consistent numbers that are on the large enough scale, then you absolutely can do that. Um, so if I plug in the numbers that I used for my last midseason with the numbers that I had, um, with trophies, judge comp, food, the venue rental, and the number of players that came in, um, not including papers, pens, printer, toner, all that stuff, I was out of pocket of just under $200.
That's an
Okay,
expensive hobby.
it is, but I love it. Um,
Don't tell Mike's wife.
she knows. I'm sure she knows. But again, I do it because I love it. I enjoy it. And it's, but that just under $200 mark was way. This part don't tell Carrie. Um, that's way less than I was losing on the first set of mid seasons where I was charging more per player. Okay, but I had way more pricing and other stuff going on that it was like, okay, I brought in a little bit more per player, $15 more per player, but I was bleeding out so much stuff that it was just like, ah. And some of the initial feedback from some of those early events was like, at $20, I expected pricing to go lower, deeper than it was. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so let's curb the enthusiasm here. So this season, I'd said, you know what? I'm just gonna go $5, just like Subway.
And Mike just froze again. Everybody give Mike a 5. High five, Mike, on the screen. High five. You froze
High
with your
five.
hand up, so we gave you a high
That's it.
five.
Awesome. So like I said, I went $5, trophy for first, streaming, and opportunity to earn some CP and have a good time.
Right.
And I said that's it. So it's cost effective for the players to come, have a good time, get on stream, maybe earn a trophy,
Right.
maybe earn a couple if you're Justin Crowbar, but you know, and then from my perspective, I don't lose quite as much, right?
Right.
So my advice and lesson learns out to all those young tournament organizers that are getting their feet wet. Um, Go for it. I love you for it. Okay, but just keep an eye on your costs. Make sure what you're doing is sustainable. What's tolerable for you, and by all means, if you figure it out how to make money, let me know.
Let us know.
Call me. Okay. Um,
I mean, if you want to go even further, my first mid-season that I ran, we ran out in Isline, I think it's called, out in New Jersey at the AMA Woodbridge or something like that. It was like a really swanky hotel. We had like the entire room, really nice, did the overnight thing, paid for my staff's hotel rooms, yada yada, kind of. Jen's gonna run, a regional level mid-season. I lost over $2,000. Like, this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about. Like,
yeah.
we put so much of our own time, effort, and then we come out of pocket for these things. And so, when you're complaining about the cost of things online, or, complaining that so and so didn't have prizes, or their prizes aren't the same as they used to be, or suggesting things or whatever, kind of maybe take a step back and say, how can I think about this from their perspective, and put yourself in our shoes or in your organizer's shoes, and kind of maybe not lambast us online. I mean, granted, if somebody's charging $20 and there's no prizes for it, and you're looking at like a 50-person tournament and no prizes for a $20 entry fee, all right. Or if somebody's charging $20 and the payout, just if you factor in costs and things like that, and the payout just doesn't seem kosher, maybe approach them and say, hey, I understand that you have costs and things like that, but from a player perspective, your entry fee is kind of looking a little high. And, just for, whatever, and kind of maybe offer them a little bit of constructive feedback, or, you know, it doesn't hurt to approach us and let us know these things, but kind of do it in the right way, take into account what we're going through and what we're, shelling out to provide these things. And, you
Mm.
know, again, when you guys are begging for streams or demanding streams, as it were, and, oh, we should be streaming everything, we should have a stream for everything. Yeah, come up with the $4,000 it takes to get all the equipment, not including getting casters and compensating them and paying for the travel, yada yada. Like, things are not free. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
Even like Mike said, if his venue fee is free, one out of the 4 tournaments he can run, he still has to do things for that deal to work. So he's
Yeah.
still putting in man hours to get that that free for him.
Well, yeah, I mean, just look at it. If I still do the trophy and the judge comp, food for my staff, and I even just take out the $10 an hour venue fee, um, I'm still in the hole by over $50.
Right.
At those numbers. Um, so in my chat, I've got a couple of questions regarding hypothetically speaking, if you did like a $5 tournament with zero prizing whatsoever, and I
Right.
go, that that is an approach, right?
I mean,
And
that's what I'm doing right now with my PCs. $5 entry,
yeah,
no prizing other
but
than
but
your
even
CP. But
but even
again,
at that level, that bare
that's barely covering, like Mike's unfortunate face right there is showing us, barely covering our expenses. It's not covering paper, it's not covering ink, it's not covering
hey, I'm back.
anything. There you are.
Okay, but like I was saying though, that even that $5 just barely covers your venue fee, right? And you're asking for your staff to take next to nothing, if nothing, um, which is sometimes that's not a bad deal if he's running a PC and you're in and out kind of thing. No problem.
Right.
At least I personally don't have a problem doing that. Or if I'm a pokey dad that's bringing my kids up to play anyways, that's fine too. So a $5 no prize tournament, that's great. The motivation there, like it's being pointed out in the chat, is the CP, right? And that is a perfectly good motivation. And
Right.
you just have to temper what you offer for what you charge, right? And that's what it boils down to. And the same thing goes is and this scales, right? Up to the regionals, and all these regional organizers, they have different prices and for entry fees, and you get different packages that are offered, and you do have a perception of value for what you're entering. So, but they have a lot of things that they have to factor in. The cost of running the regional here in Fort Wayne, I guarantee you, is way cheaper than running in the Northeast, right?
Yeah,
So
Connecticut regionals, I want to say at least a factor of two.
right. So the things the organizer here can run, Derek in his running of the regional here in Fort Wayne can offer way more value for your entry fee than another organizer in Florida or the Northeast, just because of where we're running it and what's going on, right?
Right.
So it's you really do just have to weigh what you're providing, what you're offering, vice what you're going to charge, right? And either you're going to try to aim for some kind of profit or break even point, and you're going to have to really guess on some numbers in terms of attendance and how much you're charging per head, um, and have it all planned out perfectly. Or you just accept the fact that you're probably going to take a loss, and you just how much of a loss you're going to take, right?
Right. How much are you willing of your own money to put in?
Yeah. And you try to get as close to zero or on the positive side of that dollar sign as you can. Um, and you go for it, right? And if I wanted to try to recoup some of that, yeah, sure, I can bump it up to $10 or $15 a head and offer the same level of prizing with just trophies. But I personally, um, I personally feel like I'd rather not go to a $15 a head just to recoup more money on my side, and all I'm offering is a trophy and stream, right? But that's my opinion. Like I said in my disclaimer at the beginning, that's what I do because I enjoy doing it. Um, so, and I'm not saying that's for everybody, right? And
Mhm.
So everybody kind of has to make that decision as they start to get into organizing. But we've really kind of just thrown a lot of things in a lot of different directions. And the one thing I want to make sure, though, is that we're not here to try to garner sympathy or to complain about, oh, we're losing money and this and that. That is completely not the intention of the
No,
things that we
definitely
share
not the
tonight.
point of this at all.
It honestly, from my perspective, it was just like, here's my personal experiences about organizing tournaments and the cost that's involved with doing that. And I think in my area, it's actually been really blessed to have a really cost effective area.
Oh no. Sorry, Kyle's flight just got canceled.
Oh, that's horrible.
Oh no. Oh, sorry. I'm getting distracted by my phone. I'll message him back
No,
in a
that's
minute.
okay. But like I said,
Yeah,
that's all we're trying to do with this particular episode is just kind of share our experiences. On my side, open the kimono, yeah, and just
not you're not getting
I,
under my kimono.
nothing,
No,
nothing.
no.
I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not trying to totally transparent in terms of those things. And if anybody wants to talk to me more directly, um, shoot me a note. Or if you're at one of my events and you wanted to talk about what's happening, grab me during a downtime, during lunch, whatever you want to talk about different things. I'm here. I want to help raise awareness, share this information so that people can move forward. And I know I've bogarted a whole lot of time, even in the times that we kind of had crappy internet. But you know, Jim, Jim's been a strong supporter in the Midwest here, and I love Jim. And he's just gotten permission to here recently to start premier events, and
Yay, Jim.
he exactly, and he's off and running. He's doing great, and he's doing some great things. But one of the first things, and you can ask him, one of the first things I told him is the things he's doing are really great, right? He's offering some raffles for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, those kinds of things, low charge point for the fees. I says, just be careful that you don't set a precedent for yourself of losing too much money, right? Make sure that what you do is sustainable. Otherwise, either you're going to burn yourself out or you're going to burn your wallet out, or
Yeah,
both,
yeah,
right? So whatever you want to do is great, but once you start moving, you do a couple things. You set a precedence and expectation for the players in terms of price point versus value, and whatever you do, you make sure it's sustainable, right? And there's nothing wrong saying like, hey, look, celebrating. I'm a new organizer. I'm celebrating. Let's get this party started, and you dump a little extra cash in the beginning, or
right.
anniversaries, or milestone events. Absolutely, I'm all for that, and I've been kind of toying the idea of having some milestone anniversary things for myself, but just make sure that they're not your norm, right?
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to be losing a lot of money, unless you're really rich and you just like hosting really cheap tournaments with
Well,
really awesome prizing.
I mean,
Uh,
I'll take some of your money if you're really rich.
yes, call me, shoot me an email, and I'll give you my PayPal address, and you can send some of that my way as well.
I mean, for
Um,
real, like Mike's saying, there's nothing saying that you can't do giveaways or things like that. Like we did a Sun and Moon giveaway last year through Liberty Garden to try and kind of increase our followers and, as a thank you to the community, yada yada. And we do raffles every once in a while and giveaways and stuff like that. And a lot of times when we work the bigger events, Nats Worlds, Internats now, and things like that, we get some swag. And sometimes it's great to kind of give that stuff away because if you could see the disaster that is behind me, that is my office, it is like jam packed with just like disaster of mess. But there's a lot of like promo stuff that we get, like promo cards or playmats or scarves from Worlds or whatever. I have like 4 scarves sitting in a bag next to me. I don't know what to do with these things, and so we use
you put
these
them around your
things.
neck. You said, what do you do with it? Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna throw something at you again. But for real, it's like, so we don't mind giving back in that regard, because we're getting these things given to us, so it's like I'm not gonna sell it. I mean, maybe I've sold a couple of things that people wanted, but you know for the most part, these things are given to us either as kind of like thank yous or with the understanding that we can use them as giveaways or as kind of like raffles at our own events. Yeah, he's been going deep all night, so.
What?
You. Somebody in my chat caught what I was talking about before and has been just. We'll talk offline. It's hilarious.
Oh my dear God.
Oh, Lord of mercy. Here, look at my bag of scarves. Like, I'm not kidding. There's like a bag sitting here of world's merchandise from San Francisco. Not San. Where were we just? Anaheim. That's the one. Like, literally 3 scarves in this bag and like sleeves. Not that I can give this away at a VG event, but you know.
Yeah, somebody will take it.
That's sitting next to me. I may barter them. I don't know. I don't know what to do with them. We'll see. But
All right.
all right. I think that we've kind of exhausted.
Beat the horse.
I don't know about that. We've exhausted all avenues of discussion for tonight. Oh, tonight is a good one, man. You better hide. You better hide off camera. You're awful. You're grounded. Go to your room.
I don't know what's going on. All right.
Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord.
All right. So, like you said, I think we've covered it. We've shared. I don't think I could. I don't think I have any other.
Pearls of wisdom.
Yeah, or any other cost that I've forgotten about. I think I've legitimately shared, like, short of giving you my exact spreadsheet, which just is all the numbers I've already just told you. That truly is open kimono from my perspective tonight. That's how much it cost me. This is how much I'm charging, and this is why I'm charging what I'm charging, and this is what I'm doing. You know, and again, I'm always looking for that feedback. So like if somebody says $5 is still too much, let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know why. What is your price point? If $5 is too much, is it $2? Is free your charge point or your point? Yeah, your price point. What is it? Or if you're saying, you know what, I'd like to be charged more and have a little bit more pricing. You know, that's the value proposition that is one of the hardest things to do is when you start doing tournaments. It's that price point. So with that, again, my Twitter DM is open and welcome. Oh my God, shut up.
Definitely off the cuff tonight, man. Just like Mike's got his kimono open. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm kind of out of it a little bit. So, but yeah, like Mike said, Liberty Gardens Twitter DMs are open. My DMs are deactivated for the time being. I don't know if I'll ever reactivate that account.
Yeah, but feel free to reach out to me, ask me questions, contact me on Facebook, whatever's, or even Summit City Gym, my email. Shoot me a note. Let me know what you're thinking. If you have questions, I'll feel free to talk to you as much as I can. I'll share whatever I know.
To wrap up, wait, let's wrap it up right.
All right.
London is this weekend. The official stream is going to be live, I believe, at twitch.tv/Pokemon. I don't think, or is it the Pokemon EU one? Maybe it's on the EU channel. I'm not exactly sure, but we'll let you know.
I'll find it.
I think it's on the EU one. But you're going to have an all-star cast of casters, and it'll be the first official international championship of the season. Oh, Jesus Christ, with those caterpillars up there. Calm down.
Caterpillars.
Well, look at them. Anyway, so London is going to be going on, I believe, Friday of this week. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Definitely tune in. I know I will. Thank you very much, Caitlin, for that drop in the chat of Pokemon VG_EU, where they'll be live on Twitch. Next weekend, we will be live. We are supposed to have VGC head judge Armand from South Africa, who will still be in London. He'll be live on our channel. when we stream next Tuesday. So that's something to definitely look forward to. Hopefully, he has absolutely nothing to talk about because London runs so well that nothing goes wrong. I am knocking on wood right now because London last year was a humongous challenge for Mike and I. We persevered, we made it through. I still have nightmares, specifically about the unstable programming. But London is going to go off without a hitch this weekend. It's going to be great. People are going to earn a lot of CP and jump over other people to get that invite or that paid trip to Australia, wherever that is going to be held. Who knows? I think
It's
we're
going to be
all
in
assuming
Australia.
Australia. Hopefully not New Zealand. Other than that, the next couple of streams we have coming up, we're gonna have June and Nikki, the heads of the dark side, as it is, the leaders of VGC organizing, who are our leads for Nats and Worlds every year for the past
Forever.
7, 8, I don't know. Mike and I are still going to be really sad about not being in London this week, so if you catch us crying in a corner, please give us chocolate and a pat on the back, maybe even a hug. Something. Help.
Or take a picture of Jen and put it on a flat Jen and take her to Starbucks with you.
Apparently, there's going to be a flat Jen running around London this weekend. Dan Stir printed out a flat Jen or a picture of me, but like not just my head. I wanted them to do just my head, but it's apparently like full-size Jen, but like miniature, like this big. And he took it to Starbucks with him on the way to London. So apparently Flat Jen is going to be parading around London with the VGC team, and I'm pretty excited about that.
And for those of you out there that don't have kids or don't know what that reference to, there's a kids thing
Flat
that usually,
Stanley?
yeah, it happens in school typically. It's called Flat Stanley. It's about a dude who's flat and he travels the world, right? And so,
Of
these
course,
school,
Dan would do that because he's a teacher.
yeah, school kids will actually cut out a paper man and color him up, and then they'll send him to like relatives and friends around the world, and their relatives will like take Flat Stanley to like the Space Needle or the Eiffel Tower, and they'll take pictures, and when he comes back with these pictures, the kids will write a little storybook about the Flat Stanley and his travels around the world. So there's a Jen version where she's going around
Flat
the world
Jen,
with Dan
yay.
Stir. So hopefully we'll probably see some pictures this weekend from the EUIC with Jen in the background doing mischievous things, possibly even with the
the
babies. That's right. So
Nikki Nelson has her two little babies. So hopefully Flat Jen and the babies go and have a really good time in London. Smashing, even. Smashing.
No.
No, not smashing? No, I
Set.
can't smash things? Flat Jen can't smash things?
No.
No,
I don't like.
no.
I'm not going to talk British
$100
because.
billion? No.
Sad.
All right, I think we've gone off on a tangent long enough.
Too
Thank
many
you so
tangents.
much for hanging out with us again tonight. We love you guys, man. Oh my God, ice cream! I'm getting out of here.
All right. We'll catch you next week, everybody, when we have Armand with us. And thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again next week out here.
Bye, everybody.
Clear.